Hey everybody, this is your girl Alicia. Yes, I am your favorite wild preacher's kid, and welcome to the podcast. If this is your first time here, we want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. All for the month of March, we are talking about transitions, and I have my. I'm not. Why did I wanted to cry when I was about to say your name, friend? I don't know why. I have the amazing Tameka Farley. She is a sister in Christ. She is an old wildcat from the Fort Valley State University. She is my like I I don't know how the Lord knows to tell her to check on me the way that she do and just love on me the way that she do. Like we don't have to talk for weeks and months, but I don't know what it is. I'll check on her. I'll be like, hey, I'm just making sure you good. She'll be like, yeah, thank you. This sister right here. Also, if you follow her on Tamika the Creative, she is anointed for hair. Natural hair. I don't care if you're doing locks, twists, styles. If even for braiding as well, her hands are fantastic. When I was pregnant, she was the only one who touched my crown. Okay, only one, both times. So I was like, you ain't gotta worry about no stones or crystals sitting in the corner.
Come on, somebody.
Come on, look. She ain't gotta worry about nobody taking your hair. People do crazy things. They do some weird things out there. No, her hands are gifted and anointed. And every time I've sat in her chair, I left feeling so much better. It's like ministry. I could talk about her all day, but I try my best not to tell their story. Tamika, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Yes. First of all, thank you. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be asked to be on your platform. I think so highly of you. You're so gifted and talented. Just so many gifts that God has given you. So to see this birth from the many things that are in your belly that God has placed there. I'm just glad to be a part of it. Even if I was just witnessing from the sidelines, I'm gonna cheek you on, girl. I got you. But I'm Tameka Farley. Um, like you said, we know each other from Fort Valley State. I know we were in the acting and the photography and then after Fort Valley, we crossed paths again with hair um and then also I remember you inviting me, which was a pivotal moment in my life, inviting me to a recovery meeting at a place that you were working at the time. You're a great ally for the recovery community. So I thank God for you. I'll never forget that.
Cry already.
I am a veteran, an Army veteran. I'm a mother of three. Have a 16-year-old, a 9-year-old, and 8-month-old.
She do, y'all. She just started over.
Right, right. And God has graced me for it. And it's just so beautiful this time around. I'm also a wife, and that journey is a testimony within itself. And Alicia, you've been front row seat, when it was some rough times, you know what I mean? And you are a living witness as well as myself, but that God can do anything once we surrender to Him and truly seek Him and let Him be in the driver's seat of things and not try to get in His way and be God and control every aspect of it. Yeah. So, but yeah, and I do hair.
And
I went to, right. I went to school. I got a bachelor's in something else, in mass communications with a concentration in broadcasting. But then I joined the military. Right after that, I know I needed some stability. I say that, and I was working in ministry for a couple years, full time, volunteering full time. I mean, God really increased my faith during those times. But I really saw some amazing things. I saw the hand of God. And fast forward, I talked with my husband and I was like, yeah, I think I want to do this hair thing. I think, is it okay? Because when you are in a partnership, you got to run some things by your partner. You know what play we doing here. So he was always so supportive. He designed my business cards. I mean, I was terrified to even hand out a card, and he was like, okay, well, I'll do it. So he handed out my first business card for me. He's professionally a graphic designer. So I was just so glad. I'm like, oh yeah, I got that on, I got unlimited, I got this idea, I got this idea. But said all that to say, that's where the hair ministry started. I call it that. It's a business, of course, but I know when COVID hit, I was working in a hair salon in Warner Robins, Georgia, for about a year. COVID hit, and then we all were scrambling. For those who experienced it, it may be some people that hear this podcast 50 years from now, and they're like, "COVID, what was that?" But we were all locked in the house.
Right.
Nobody knew where anything was coming from. You had people fighting over toilet paper in the store.
Yep.
But when I went back to work, I left the salon and I said, God, I'm going to devote every hairstyle to you. I'm going to offer it up as a sacrifice, as a fragrance to you, Lord. And I was going through a separation at that time. Had filed for divorce, and this was the second time I had separated. So but nonetheless, God kept me, and he blessed it, the business, and I I haven't had to hand out any cards, or um it's kind of on autopilot now. He's gifted me the strategy to capture that clientele that keeps coming back, and they refer others. So I'm grateful to God. Even people who have not been to me refer me. So I count it as a gift. Doing what I do is personal. You know, dentists and doctors are the only other ones that touch you like a hairstylist does. You know what I'm saying? So I don't take it lightly. For one, I'm accountable to God, and then two, I make sure clients are pleased. So yeah.
Look, she's so humble. She says it like, oh, when you ask her what she do, she be like, I do hair. She says it like that. But there's not too many times where you've been to a hair salon where you went in there and they late, and then you're waiting, and then after you're late and then you're waiting, you finally get in the chair, they're rushing, and they just throw you in the sink. They know. If you've ever gotten the privilege to just sit in her chair, I promise you it is the best experience. It's kind of like that old school of doing hair, where it's like she got music playing, she'll have some snacks for you available, and you come in and she was like, yeah, you can set your stuff here. She take, like, it is truly a service, and people don't do that no more. They normally want you to come face beat and just come sit in a chair, and your hair needs to be pre-washed, and your hair, like, no, it's like, I'm okay if you want to charge me for it, but like, if I don't do all of that, that's not my thing. No, it's a full service. Now that's just the hair portion. She is truly gifted in doing it. And girl, when I was pregnant with my son and you did that crown around my head, that is probably the number one. Everybody kept asking me who did it when I went to my baby showers. They was like, who did this? I was like, my friend. I felt pretty and I felt good. And then even after having my kids, like, you came to my house to do my hair just so that, because if any mom out there, those first couple of months, they rough. You in the trenches, and you probably didn't, brush your teeth. I'm gonna say that instead of the other thing I'm about to say. You didn't brush your teeth, and you just loved on me. And I'm not saying she does this for everybody, but it just shows how much you care about the people that you do. I'm not gonna cry.
That I'm in community with.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
You are not just even, it's like our connection after leaving school was hair. You have genuinely been like a pillar in my family. You have. And that's why I can cry about it, because me saying that I wanted to have kids and I felt like I couldn't, it was in your chair.
Wow.
When I'm thinking about divorcing my husband,
Right.
and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Tamika,
Right.
I don't know what to, like, I have both these kids. I don't know what to do. And
Um,
it wasn't just, girl, just leaving me. No, like, you ministered to me in that chair to
yeah.
where I could feel healed myself. And you encouraged me. It's like, Alicia, when you start taking care of yourself, that's when the rest of it comes together.
Mhm.
And I mean, like, you literally have done that yourself. So and of course, we're talking about difficult transitions,
Right.
but you brought up um, being in recovery, and then, but I know that it didn't start with you.
Mhm.
It started with within your family.
Right.
So now you're on the other side of it.
Right.
How did you go from growing up in a space of where addiction is throughout your whole entire family almost, to you having your own struggles, to
Right.
making the choice and decision to start your recovery process, to now it's not even, I'm not saying that
Right.
it's not a process, but like,
Yeah.
it's not the same. How did you maneuver through that situation?
Right, right. So, I would say first was both of my parents had addictions, and my mother and my father. Um, and my mother, both of her parents had addictions, and their lives succumbed to it. So, but my mother back in, what is it? I know I'm 37, so she has 35 years clean. And for those that know, the 80s in Atlanta was a tough time. So um, she chose to live. And then on with my father, I'm his only child, and I have three other siblings through my mother, but I was my father's only child, and he was an alcoholic. But the uniqueness of that situation was, regardless of what his sickness was, he made sure that he called me, and he called me every day, sometimes twice a day. And I value it so much because he was consistent even in his sickness, and he came through, his childhood and story impacted how he showed up. But I do know that both of my parents, they wanted me, I'm grateful for that. And knowing my mother tells a story that, she realized that my father said, well, Didi, I'm gonna drink and smoke till the day I die. And she was like, I got 4 kids, I can't die, I don't want to live like this. And so she chose to go into recovery, and AA and NA is what saved her life. So I grew up seeing two lanes. I saw my mother, we went to meetings, we was the kids, in the back room jumping around on furniture, at the meeting, and they had to come in and say, hey, y'all too loud in here. And then there was going to the conventions and things like that. I didn't know the details of everything, but I did know that, okay, she's choosing to live. And then my father, he died from kidney failure, and me being his only child, I was there with him through the dialysis and everything like that. And we were close, we were very close. But I learned in college, and it was tricky because I remember being at a track party in college, and there was this big thing of Gatorade, like a big thing of Kool-Aid. And so my friend was like, yeah, you want to have some? And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll take some. And it was so sweet, and I was like, oh, that's good, not even realizing, like, this has unlocked something, and from that point, that feeling, I was hooked, and I was 18 at the time. So um I mean, I was an A student. I was on honors. I was still able to party, be hungover, 8 a.m. Don't know why I picked 8 a.m. classes until, you get wiser. You like, I don't want to wake up that early. But I realized I struggle with it. I struggle with it a lot. And that's where I met my husband at Fort Valley State. Bless God for my husband. Thank you, Lord. And my in-laws, I love them as well. They've always been so supportive through everything. But I realized that I had an issue was when I was pregnant with our second child, Ely. And it was something that was in the back of the freezer. And like when I'm pregnant, I'm like, I don't watch nothing crazy. I don't know. It's just something in me that clicks. So it's like, I don't even think about alcohol when I'm pregnant. And so it was something that was in the back of the freezer or the refrigerator. And I was like, I remember I was like 4 or 5 months pregnant. I came home from work. I was working at a local middle school. And I was like, man, I want something to drink. And then I looked down, I was like, what am I thinking? What is wrong with me? Like, I thought something was, I was like, this is scary.
Yeah.
Because why would my mind default go to that place? And so that's when I sat down and I talked with my mom. And I was like, Mom, I think I have a problem. I think something's wrong, because even in this state, which I consider a sacred state, I wanted this. And so and talk with my husband too. And so she told me, she said, well, baby, she said, the reason that you're fighting it as desperately as you are, or this large opponent, is because I drank when I was pregnant with you. And it was like,
yeah,
oh
the
my
connection.
goodness. Right. I was just like, so that's why, I have this, this insatiable type of draw to it, And so that's when I knew. And for those that have known me via social media or in passing in life, and we're connected on social media, I'm very open about it. I guess when I have those moments of like when it's really low, I don't get online or anything like that to vent. But when I can come out of that darkness, that's when I can be more vocal about it and share my testimony. And from that, I shared it in a marriage group. And no lie, it was hundreds of people that were emailing me. I mean, not emailing, DMing me, just husbands, wives. I'm all walks of life, all races, whatever. And that's when it hit me. And I was like, I looked at my husband and I was like, I am so sorry. I had no understanding that, we both contribute to a relationship, right? It's 50-50 or whatever. But it really showed me like, this man been putting up with my stuff. Like, and so I was like, babe, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I asked for forgiveness or whatever. And so, but yeah, to answer the question, to land the plane is, a term I've learned recently. To land the plane, it was when I was pregnant with our daughter that the light bulb came on. So, and then I just desperately, I knew about AA, I knew about NA, even in a town we were living in. It was a smaller town, it was a college town, but I'm not in college, so I can't connect with that group. And I just fought desperately. I was taking our daughter to AA meetings and NA meetings, and I did what I could and clawed my way out. I just knew that I was just tired of that cycle. I didn't want to die the way I saw my father die, and my maternal grandmother die, and my maternal grandfather die. So yeah, I didn't want to die in a bottle.
That's like, to even say I didn't want to die in the bottle. Like, I know that we've talked about how, you've been in a place where you, even for the military, they do encourage you to drink, even for that. And to get to a place where you're like, oh, I'm thinking about drinking when I'm while I'm pregnant. That to be the alarm bell, like to be, and almost it just shows how much of a generational curse breaker you were. Because who could even imagine for your mom how she was birthed in, if both of her parents were addicts at that time, like
Yeah.
who knows what else she was birthed into. And for you to, I mean, that's just crazy. That could have been almost 3-4 generations of doing the same thing. And that was a moment to snap.
Right.
I'm not going to continue doing this. I'm going to change.
Right.
And I could honestly say that it is a beautiful and sad thing to watch when somebody's going through that journey. I will say the most, I want to acknowledge this when you said being an ally and how you felt about me in that time. Like, I genuinely am, because a lot of us go through a lot of different things and we're all trying to figure out how to cope with it.
Right.
And if we're doing what someone else taught us, what is normal in our family, what is, or even somebody introduce you to something. Like some people may not ever, like my dad is like, he's never drank, he's never smoked, he's never done any of those things. And it's like, okay, I wasn't raised in a household like that. But when I hit a low point and I didn't have foundation of God, and I didn't know what direction to go into, I did what everybody else did.
Right.
It felt easier. And to hear you say like, no, you fought for it. You fought for your sobriety. You fought to get out of that bottle. You fought just to be your whole self.
Right. Right.
Especially after seeing somebody be disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's powerful in itself.
Man, it's God's grace, man.
So you did bring up like it impacting your relationship, and you had to apologize. Like
Mm-hmm.
for someone out there who is going through like a difficult transition within their family, like with spouses, it is challenging to become aware that with your sickness, because addiction is a sickness,
It is for sure.
and then struggling with even mental health issues on top of that, trying to cope is challenging as well. How how did you guys, I guess, break apart and find yourselves reconnecting again?
Right. Right. So just a little snapshot. We met and started dating in 2007. Had our first child 2009. Got married 2012. Separated 2017. Got back together 2018. Separated 2020. And it's the final reconciliation in 2022, right? What was different about this final reconciliation was, I think we had to go work on ourselves. So my husband, he was raised in the church, both of his parents, grandparents or whatever. So when me and him got together, I wasn't raised in the church, like opening and closing the church. He was, but I wasn't. So when I came to college, I was like, oh, I've learned about Jesus, because like a true relationship with Jesus, because I was studying to be a Muslim. In high school, then I was atheist, and then once I came back to Christ, I wanted him to just, come to the Lord. But during during that separation 2020 to 2022, he had started going to church, and he started going to Hope Church consistently, and he has such a routine type of life, in which I love, because it provides stability, and they had a great children's ministry, and we were doing 50-50 with the kids, 7 days with me, 7 days with him. So he was taking them to children's church, it keeping them, and the children liked it, he wasn't forcing it. And so I was just admiring the fact of like, wow, not just him going to church, you know, because at first my mind was like, he's just trying to do that just to win me back, you know, that my mind went to that. But I saw the impact that it had on the children, a positive impact. And then all during this time, I was applying to get my veteran benefits, and you know, me thinking, oh, I just want to collect a check, you know, and you know, not thinking that anything's wrong with me, because I'm like, oh, I got to, okay, I know, yeah, I got this thing or whatever, but I can manage it. I just drink on the weekends, you know, whatever. But not realizing that I really have, you know, I have depression and PTSD, and ended up getting my benefits and started going to anger management with the VA. And it's a weekly class, and it's been 3 years, probably 3.5, that I've been going. It's a group, and I attended virtually because it's like 2 hours away at the Dublin VA. But it has really helped me. And when my mom told me, you know, she's like, it has really helped you. Cause see, I thought I was this nice person that, you know, I don't have a problem. I love everybody, you know. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I was drinking. Oh, hey, you know, I'm the life of the party, you know, type of energy. But very angry underneath, and didn't realize it, you know. And when I would hear people talk in the group, they would be like, yeah, and this happened and this happened, and I just snapped and da da, and I'm like, yeah, I do. And then I was like, oh wait, I do have an anger problem. Something is going on, you know. So while my husband was, you know, God was working on him, God was also working on me at the same time, simultaneously. And inwardly, maybe about 6 months before we reconciled, I began to grieve, because at first I was like, oh, I'm good, you know, whatever, we done separated before, you know, once I cut it off, I'm done, you know. But it's like, no, you're human, you're not a freaking robot, Tameka. You're feeling all of this. And so I began to grieve, you know. I was like, man, my family, you know,
Yeah.
I'm used, you know, it began to affect me. I admitted that it affected me. And my husband was always, you know, nice and kind. You know, he'll send dinner with the kids, and, you know.
Say something, okay? I know that y'all were separated during that time, but I have to give my brother his props.
Yes.
I say an amazing dad. Like, I don't know what time it was, and that's because whenever I would come visit or you would do my hair, me and you would stay up talking too long.
Right.
And I just remember baby girl got sick. And it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he was like, "Hey, you know." And this is during shutdown COVID. Like, there's really no stores open past
Right.
almost 10 o'clock back.
Right.
This man went to almost 4 locations to get the medicine for
Yeah.
baby girl.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
these folks ain't got no excuse. No excuse. Now, do not get me wrong. I understand that there's some challenging situations and stuff like that, but even in the midst of your separation, he was still concerned about you.
Yes.
He still was concerned about your children.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't, and I would not just him, even for you, the way you guys still honored each other, still being separated.
Yep.
That was amazing to watch. And I was like, if she can do this,
oh yeah,
in the midst of all that's going on, I know for a fact that it could get better for me and myself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, y'all have been married, technically, you said since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
That was 10 years.
Yep.
And you know, when we get to a certain point, like you said, it's like, wash my hands of you.
Yep.
And I can honestly say I admired that about y'all. Like, and it's not that y'all would show out in front of me, but I have been in situations where people do show out in front of me, and I'm like, it is what it is. But y'all really still covered each other.
Oh yeah.
You could genuinely see that he still had a hedge of protection over you, even if y'all were living life. That's what I'm gonna say. Was out there living life.
Right.
The way that y'all still covered each other is like, okay, well, are you okay?
Yeah.
So I'm happy you let me know. And it just shows that there's there are godly men out there, even with him being in transition himself.
Yep.
He was working, God's revealing things to him, he's working on him, God's revealing to you, working on you, just for y'all to get to a place where y'all could reconcile. And I want to talk about that because coming back from that space of like it's over. We're talking about husband and wife. Can't speak for, you know, singles and things like that when it comes to making the attempt again, to try again. It takes a lot of effort.
For sure.
And how did y'all do that? Because
we had to verbally talk through it. And I'll give you an example, like if a trigger or something came up, because mind you, I was 19 when I got with him. I'm 37 now. Okay. So it's been a long time.
Right.
But we had to give each other room to grow. Because we weren't the same people from 2020.
Right.
We weren't the same people from 2021. We had evolved. So allowing this person who I know like the back of my hand, right? Like literally like the back of my hand, has grown. They think a little differently. They've experienced something that'll make them pause and say, wait a minute. Or make them forecast ahead of time and not react, not be reactionary.
Yeah.
Not to mention, if a trigger did come up, like, I praise God for my anger management group, but just understanding the way anger works and understanding self, because the addiction will allow you to suppress the root of something, the root of what's really going on. But to say, ooh, I know you didn't mean that by what you said, but it did trigger me from something in the past. So just give me about 20 minutes and then I'll be good. You know what I'm saying? And so
that's good.
Just really knowing self, just really understanding self and being able to say, hey, I don't like this, and this, or what I used to like, this is something different. We've transitioned. We're no longer who we used to be. Yeah, we're the same people, but we're different, and allowing for that and not, pinning you to that, like, oh, you this way and you that way. And no, oh, okay. Tell me more about that. Oh, okay. You don't like that type of water no more. I mean, something
that simple.
Simple stuff. Like, oh, you like for this. Oh, you like this type of toothpaste. Okay, you don't like when the toothpaste do that. Okay, just being open. And I would say just giving each other grace. Like straight up, just giving each other grace. Just the same grace that I would want somebody to have for me, and not being so serious and critical of myself that when the mirror is put up, like, yeah, you know how to give a joke, but you don't know how to take it. And I'm like, wait a minute, you right.
Yeah,
you right. Okay, I take a little jab. My bad.
My bad, bro.
Right. So just allowing each other the space to grow and feeling safe in that. Because when you're dealing with childhood rejection or abandonment or whatever else, those things show up when we are adults as well. It does not just magically disappear. It's still there. If not, it's rooted even deeper and harder for you to find, because the branches they've extended to all facets of yourself. And so said that to say, I feel safe with him, and seeing how we've been through the years, it's like, this man loves me. This man loves me through and through.
You do.
Like, this man loves me. So Tameka, you don't have to have that spirit of pride to always be right, always want to, be on. It's like, yes, you're human, Tamika. It's okay. You know, nobody's gonna leave you. He's not gonna leave you. He's not gonna reject you. And so with that safety, it's like I've gone deeper in the Lord, and I've pivoted even more into, okay, well, what if something happens? If something happens, right? God is my safety.
Yeah.
God is my everything. He's the one that says I'm the apple of his eye, the delight of his heart. You know, nothing can separate me from the hand of God. You know what I mean? And really resting on that so that I'm not this little girl inside that's shaking like a leaf, but putting up this anger wall. You know what I'm saying? Of protection, or rejecting people before they reject me, or me not cultivating female, relationships because my mother was a baby boomer, and even though she was in recovery and, progressing in life, she was emotionless.
Yeah.
I never saw her cry until I was an adult. I never heard her say she loved me until I was in high school. Like, she would laugh. I'd be like, I love you, mama. And she would laugh and, girl, you so crazy. But my father on the other side, who was a full-blown addict, was, I love you, Tamika. You daddy's girl. I mean, every day, all day. So I feel like God is the ultimate redeemer. I think that's my story. God is the ultimate redeemer of things that we think we have lost.
Yeah.
Even in the transition of things, I may have felt like, oh man, my addiction, boom, is boom. And it's like, I'm just trying to control things, but it's like, when you release and let God deal with it. And I said, God, you be my everything. And it may sound super spiritual to some people. And I want to disband this misbelief of, I've heard this lately. You so spiritual that you're not earthly good. I said, the devil is a lie. I said, because I'm a spirit and I'm flesh. So how can I be too spiritual? How can I not acknowledge God? For people to see my life and to see the things that I've come from. I grew up on the south side of Atlanta, off of Cleveland Avenue, Metropolitan. So statistically, I wasn't supposed to be where I'm at today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm breaking generational curses to where, yes, we go to therapy. Yes, we go to anger management. Yes, we do upstanding things to earn money. You see what I'm saying? We breaking the poverty. We're breaking these things. And I say that to say, I'm just grateful because God is the ultimate redeemer of time, of even if we think something that we lacked in childhood, God restore. He's the ultimate restorer. Just like me and my husband, we done spent money on lawyers for the divorce, and and when we got back together, he was like, we done spent this money and da da da. And inwardly, I'm just like, just hold on. And this past year, within 6 months, my husband has been able to recoup 3-4 times that amount. Supernaturally. So when I say God is the ultimate redeemer, I got to take my mouth off of things. And even sometimes, you'll hear your partner or somebody say something, I'll be like, I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. The devil is a lie. We will be blessed.
Yeah.
We will have sound minds. Our children will get married. Our children will get married before having children. So it's like each generation, and I tell my husband this, I said, each generation should get better. Yeah. Each generation. Nothing wrong with, I thank God for my mother. Like, she is an awesome woman. I mean, her testimony is amazing. But we had 3 different fathers. And so I take pride in, and my husband be joking with me, like, he'd be like, you'll tell him, I got 3 kids by the same man,
She's like,
I'm breaking a generation. That's my testimony. Come on now, we ain't got 3 different last names.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And seeing that, because the way my father was so loving, I saw my siblings' father, and they weren't as loving. They weren't present even in whatever they were going through. And so I would mourn for them. I'd be like, man, I wish we had the same dad so they, they could hear. So that's why, it's not I'm better than anybody or nothing like that. But that's just so we can keep this thing locked in. So, yeah, man, to God be the glory.
Look, she just put her hands up. It was like, to God be the glory. It is what it is. But I think it just shows that even when you felt left or abandoned, he still was providing. He still was being the ram in the bush. He was sending people your way. He was like, for your dad to be full blown addiction status, and then but still have just enough to still love on you in a place where your mother didn't have it.
Nope.
She didn't.
Come on, somebody.
You know what I'm saying? Your mom didn't have it at that time, but it doesn't mean that she didn't. No one was able to do that for her.
Bingo.
She literally did not have it to give because no one had given her the same courtesy. And it's like, I think for your dad, he was able to just, if he couldn't always be there, he said, I'm gonna show up in this way.
Yeah.
It just shows that God can still, even in the midst of chaos, he can use anybody.
Yep.
Use anybody, and I think that's what you needed. And I think that's why I even brought you to your husband, somebody that could love you through it and can see you through it all, and to care about you in a way that you probably didn't think was possible before.
Nope. Feel so unworthy, you know?
Ooh. And that's a real feeling too. Like just not feeling worthy of someone's love, affection, time. Like, whether you're single or married, there's people out there who are married and feel like they're not worthy to be in a relationship with you. Or if you're single and you're looking, you're like, man, where is my next? Who's my man who's supposed to come, or my wife who's supposed to come, and you're holding on to it. There's nothing wrong with holding on to it, but if you don't are, you'll walk away from it still.
Yep.
It's easy.
Like, yep. And it's like, I was on a business coaching call, what I thought was a business coaching call. It was somebody here locally. And I thought, and it's somebody I admire. She has a salon, and, and she was like, I'm going to do this business call. How do you feel about if we talk about the Lord as well? Da, 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 da. And so I was like, okay. We talked on the phone for like 4 hours, and we talked absolutely nothing about business. She told me, she said, you don't know who you are in Christ. I said, oh, and the boldness and the zeal and the passion that she had. And it was like, okay, I got my marching orders, and that lit a spark in me, because I was just like, I'm looking at a business. And sometimes you don't know what to focus on, or like what's the key, you don't know what it is that you need to focus on. But I'm just like, once I have the confidence in Christ and who I am and the inheritance that I have, being an heir in the kingdom, like, it's mine. I'm leaving here with something.
Come on, Giselle.
I'm leaving here for what's rightfully mine. And once I realize that I have a right to it, I'm not going into the atmosphere like in this beggar mentality. You know what I mean? That unworthiness. It's like, nah, my father wants the best for me. You know what I mean? Why not?
Why not me?
Why not me?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I love that too, because it's like, I think that there's moments in our life where, they say imposter syndrome, but I think it's just you really, like, you hit it. You don't know who you are. You don't know whose you are, and you don't know what he has in store for you.
That part.
And and I like to talk as if I like to assume that everybody's a believer. But if you're listening to this and you're not a believer, and you're like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, having a good solid foundation in the Lord, where you can talk to him, you can pray to him, you can read his word, and he's revealing himself to you. He's showing you that he has plans and preparation. He's made preparation for you and the things that you care about. And even in the midst of things not being exactly the way that you want them to be in this moment, it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't produce a harvest. I think we've been conditioned to think that if you're saved and you are, and you serve in church and you pray and you give your tithes and offering and you all the checklist, if you do all of those things, then that puts you in a place where things won't happen to you. And that's not true. Life is still gonna life.
Yep.
Things are
Yep.
still gonna happen, but to be anchored to the Father who will guide you through it, who will hold your hand through it, who will send people your way, bless you randomly when you're having a weak moment of. For me, Tamika is that person. I don't care what's going on. She constantly, and when I say constantly, the Lord would tell her to just do something for me. Like, she done bought me lunch. She was like, "Hey, Alicia, I sent food to you. I know you like this." And I'm having the toughest day. I am crying, and it's like I hear that ding, and I see her name, and I'm like, "Oh." And I'm like, I needed that. I needed that confirmation that you hear me, you see me in this moment of vulnerability. And I always am thankful and grateful for you just being yourself. Like and I told her this earlier, that she is one of the most genuine souls I've ever met. Like, she cares about everybody. Not somebody, not a couple of people. Like, and I tell people that I love everybody, because I do. I love everybody, but like, I feel like loving everybody and caring for everybody is something different. It's a different kind of mantle, and you carry it well. It's such a beautiful thing, like, to watch you be able to. You're so sensitive to the spirit. If I could just be honest, like, you're so sensitive to the spirit when you're talking to people. I've sat in when you were doing somebody else's hair and they were sharing, and it's not that you knew exactly what to say, but you met them exactly where they were at. And to be in that type of space, and you still had hell going on around you.
Yeah.
Like, not giving up the fight of ministry, not just saying, I can't talk to nobody because this ain't right, this ain't right. It's like, no, you still were allowing God to use you.
Yeah. And I want to speak to that too, because even through addiction, it really had me feeling unworthy, which it stifled a good bit of me sharing my testimony. You know what I mean? Because it's like, when you in it, and then along with some of the stuff we may think or see online, or what church, like, it could be a complex thing to try to understand. What is this thing? What is this God thing? Like, what is this Jesus thing? What is that? Oh, I feel condemned, or oh, I feel this way. But in the simplest terms, it's like, God, help me see myself the way that you see me.
Yeah.
That's as basic as you can start. Not how I heard the pastor on Sunday say, calling people out or whatever. But God, show me how you see me. Not these saints who have arrived, right?
Right.
But show me how you see me. So that would be the start, some starting point, if I could, to somebody. God, ask God to show you how he sees you. The love, the compassion, the grace, the new mercies every day. And even because there was a point in time when I didn't understand the Bible. Like, even if I were to read it in the latest translation, right, that there is, to break it down in modern terms, still couldn't quite grasp it or understand it. It's like, Lord, help me understand. And that's all God wants. He wants us to come to him. That is it. That is all. And he will reveal everything else. He will guide us in everything. So when I say I talk to him about every single thing. I know it may sound, religious to some or whatever, but this is what helps me because of my background, because
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because with addiction, you got to replace that with something. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest about it. So I've built up my village, and that's why I'm honest with my village too. About if I'm feeling overwhelmed, or if I haven't eaten, or I'm tired, or whatever it may be. But just being honest with your village, and even if you don't feel safe, because there were many times that I didn't feel safe to talk to those outside of myself. Not nothing that they did, but just because of what I was, that self-talk,
Yeah.
that self-talk. um God, he wants to hear about it. He wants to hear all about it.
Yeah.
Every hurt, every pain, the shame, the molestation, the incest, the addiction, the bestiality, whatever it is, there's nothing too hard for God. And as cliche as that sounds, it's very literal. There's nothing too hard for him. Nothing. Nothing. And it's like, well, you done tried everything else. Tried to drink it away, tried to smoke it away, tried to sex it away, tried to control it away. Trying to do all these things, but there's still that hole, that void. So just having a heart to heart and be like, hey God, they saying that you real. I don't know that you're real. I seen you show up for grandma and them and auntie, Sarah. But I'm at a point where I want to try you. I
Yeah.
want to try you. So show me who you are,
Yeah.
and he'll do it. And I'm a living witness, even in all my times of everything.
I
Yeah.
think it's necessary though, because I mean, and you said it spot on. It's like, try him. He wants to be tested.
Yep.
He wants you to ask him questions. He wants you to push. I know that in the religious culture, because it's different in my opinion. But in the religious culture, they consider it blasphemous. You don't question God. And
Right.
I'm not questioning him because it's like I don't think he knows what he's doing. It's more like I don't know what you're doing. So I have to ask questions so you can clarify
Yep.
and put me at ease and give me peace, grant me comfort
Yep.
moments. Because
Yep.
with the things that are happening, especially if they're new, or even for someone, I've talked about on just transition from like being surrounded by family members that are not always good for you too. That's challenging.
It is.
How do you maneuver through that? Especially when you love that person, you love all of them, you want to be around them, you want them to want you to be around them, and you're fighting for relationships that may not serve you. You're fighting for a job that may not be, it's financially beneficial, but it's not mentally beneficial. You might be like, there's so many times where we're putting our trust in things that can die,
Yeah.
can disappoint, can leave us, can just be like, hey man, it is what it is. Like, I done had somebody tell me that. I know we're best friends, or but I don't want to deal with you no more. Like, how do you? It's like being put in those spots.
Yeah.
You're like, man, you were such a huge pillar of my life, and I don't know where to go from here. It's like God was like, you made something else God.
Yep.
You
Yep.
replaced me with those things. You replaced me with that career. You replaced me with even your kids. You can put your kids before God, and I see how easy it is because you're consumed
Yep.
by their well-being. But that's when you start getting sick. That's when
Yep.
you don't eat. That's when you don't sleep. That's when you can't enjoy rest because you're constantly waking up in the middle of the night, making sure somebody breathing, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
do a good job and you want to show up, but guys, like, try me.
Yep.
Let me be your resource. Let me be your confidant. Let me be.
Yep.
It's what you said. He wants to hear from us.
Yep.
I think we spend a lot of time, or I'll just say for myself, I know I spent a lot of time thinking that my problems were just small. And it's like, he got bigger things, there's people dealing with an earthquake, things that I can't comprehend, you know what I'm saying? It's like dealing with that kind of stuff. Like, he ain't got time to, make sure I got food in my fridge.
Yeah.
Like, because, I was being irresponsible. I thought I had enough money to put food in my fridge, and I did not. I bought too much of this and not enough. And he's like, no, let me go ahead. He was like, let me call such and such. Hey, let me drop that in your spirit. Go ahead and and buy some groceries for Alicia, and just let her know that I sent you. It's things like that where he wants to show up, but I know that when you're in transition and it feels really difficult, it feels very isolating. And sometimes something that you said as well, like shame.
Yep.
Just trying to deal with the shame of, like, I think we're taught to get to a certain place and then stay there.
Right.
Knowing that, like you said about you and your husband, there has to be growth. You have to acknowledge it. Like, you can't just go, well, you used to do this for 20 years and now you like cheese on your grits? Like, just something so simple.
Yep.
And in this moment, it's like, no, if he's growing and he's evolving, okay, I need to grow and I need to evolve my mind. Lord, renew my mind daily. I can see what's going on, but then I can also add to it.
Right.
And I think that that's how you guys got to baby number 3.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you something. All of our children are beautiful. But baby boy, though, so stinking cute.
Thank you.
So stinking cute. How do we get to now this next phase where there was reconciliation and now you're like, let's add a baby to the mix? Because let's really be honest, technically you should be done.
Right.
Because DJ, how old is DJ?
16.
Yeah, he's 16. And then baby girl is
9
now. And now you have an 8-month-old now. What I like, of course, all children are blessings, but
of course.
You can tell that, not that this is ceiling.
Right.
But
yeah, but it is.
Okay, I don't want to just throw it out.
Yeah, no, for sure. And my husband had that same sentiment, like, we were supposed to be done, that was his original thought. And as time progressed, God had to work on him. And since Taylor has gotten here, and even through that pregnancy, because when I was pregnant with DJ, I was in undergrad. So there was shame with that, not being, we in the Bible Belt, so having a child out of wedlock, coming to class pregnant, I've even had, I can name some people on that campus that said some things who I even admired, point me out and shame me publicly. And it kind of took me back to that place of, this is unwanted, unplanned, this, you know what I'm saying, type of thing. But I remember being pregnant and I said, the devil is a liar. I said, this baby will be happy. He will be peaceful. He will be joyful. Whatever it is, Lord, that you have in store for this child that you want to plant in him, it will be in him.
Yeah.
And I'm living a witness to it. Besides when he's hungry and he's teething right now, bless his heart. Yes. But aside from that, he's like the happiest baby. And he's at home with me while I work from home. And I was worried. I was like, oh God, will he just only be attached to me? Will he go to other people and cry? Like, how is it? When I say he goes to people that he trusts, of course, And that's another thing too. I'm very sensitive to my children.
Yeah,
Like they feel uncomfortable, I'm not having
that's right.
it. But he's such a happy baby, and he's the smallest of the three, but just healthy. And I'm nursing still, and I just thank God for this journey. I thank God that I'm able to savor this. And even though in our minds we like, oh, technically I'm supposed to be done, or you know we supposed to be doing this by now, we supposed to be, but because God has something else in store. And so I'm grateful, to be able to, you know like DJ, the oldest, he come out and be playing with the baby, and Ely, my baby girl, she's like, I hear him crying, hear the baby crying, and then he'll stop crying, and I'm looking, and she got him and holding him, bouncing him, playing with him, and just a full circle. And when my husband come home from work, you know he light up when he see daddy, it's playtime, and it's a blessing. It truly is. The only thing that y'all keep your sister in prayer on is this sleep thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Woo,
Getting good
but
sleep for the longest. Yeah, you got to start
right.
over.
Listen, I took them naps for granted, okay? But I he is a blessing and a great addition, and we still try to make sure that during this transition of somewhat starting from the beginning again, we have I like each child we have time with. So I'll take our daughter where she, we have a day with her, and then my husband, he'll take her somewhere on another time. And DJ, me and him, we bond over food. We like food, so take him to his favorite spot or whatever. So we just try to make sure we get that individual time still. And we do we have like family talk. It's like these little cards, and it prompts you to have like kid-friendly conversations, or like the kids can ask you a question, or the parents can ask a question to the children, like, what do you wish mom and dad would do less of, stuff like that. So we just want for them to feel safe, because we know that we've taken them through these transitions as well, with the separations. And there's some mom guilt with me behind some of that, and I have to be present and be like, Tameka, it's not the past anymore. Um, just being present, and not really holding on to the past, like acknowledging that it happens, but you're here now. We're present, so make the most of today, and I'm just grateful. Even like picking the kids up, they got us picking them up from practices and everything like that. And I was just like, God, I thank you. I thank you to be able to do this. Yeah. Whereas in the past, I might have been kind of resentful, like, oh, we be driving across town in this traffic, and oh, he didn't tell me that the damn thing was canceled, and this was canceled. Why you? But I said, Lord, I thank you, because for one, Tameka's testimony, baby, I'm sober doing this thing. You feel me? I ain't got a little nothing in my cup. You know what I'm saying? I got H2O. You know what I'm saying?
H2O.
Get like me, and I thank God. And I said, wow, God, I'm able to show up and be present for our children, and cancel, or move things around if necessary. My mom worked 2 jobs most of my childhood, sometimes 3, but all the time 2 jobs. So she didn't have that freedom to like show up, for things. And I knew not to ask, you know what I'm saying, because I knew she couldn't take off. But I said, it makes it so much sweeter that I can show up for field day, or I can come on a field trip, or I can, so I don't have that mind frame of, oh, I have to do this. I get to do this.
That's so sweet. Y'all, if you ever have the pleasure of meeting her children, they are the most sweetest kids, respectful kids, kind children. And I think before the term of gentle parenting, it like to is a phenomenon. I think you guys really set the tone for that because it was something that you would do that I still admire to this day. Like they would walk up to you and be like, "Mommy, I just want a hug," and no matter what's going on, you be like, "Give me 1 second. Here you go, baby." Like just because normally a parent would go, "Look, now I'm doing such and such on over there," and I'm guilty
Right.
of it. But it
Right.
reminded me that like if they're asking for this, there's gonna come a time where they're not gonna ask for it no more.
Nope.
There's gonna come a moment where they're not gonna ask for me to hug them and to give them kisses on their face and do their hair. Like Alea now is she's 2 and she'll sit and get the comb and want me to just and sit in my lap so I can just I'm not doing anything to her, but I give her a mirror and she go, ooh.
Oh, that's so
And
precious.
but I didn't, you know, you don't think about those moments.
Right.
You just going like, I gotta do this, I gotta move this, and
Mhm.
and you're fast moving through life. And I think what you're doing is breaking that curse of just a parent not being there. Both of y'all are.
Right.
And it shows
Mhm.
because as even the fact that both of y'all got as parents got separated, y'all stayed in great co-parenting during that time frame. They still felt love. It just kind of looked different.
Right.
But even to see them now, they just glad that everybody's still here. Like everybody, y'all made it.
Yeah. We
And
made it.
yeah, y'all made it.
Hallelujah.
Look, y'all made it. And it just shows if I can share this with anybody who is single or engaged, I want you to know that marriage is I want to say this the best way possible. It can be challenging. It can have its ups and downs. It will have its ups and downs. The person, as she said, that you married way back when won't be the same person. And I think we've around marriage, it just looks so unattractive because we lose that ability of accountability, vulnerability, and acknowledgement as we get older because we're really we're guilty of just going through the motions of just being present and okay I gotta do this and you're taking on more responsibility, taking on more tasks, especially if you have children. They got their own schedules and then you're trying to find time for yourself, but then it's like let me reconnect with this person. Let me spend time with them. Let me take a moment. And the fact that you're even doing it with your kids, you said, "Hey, I'm gonna we do individual. I'm gonna do this date with you. Hey, let's go and spend time together, mommy and daughter time, or mom and son time." Like all of these relationships, you have to still cultivate.
Yep.
And if in my opinion, if you don't have God to kind of anchor you in that, you'll just you'll just wake up and it's 10 years later and you're like, who am I laying next to? Who are these
Yep.
kids?
Yep.
And you're wondering why you're getting calls to the principal's office. You're like, that's not what you do. And it's like you have no idea that they lost their friends.
Yep.
They're lonely.
Yep.
They're trying to talk to you, but you're busy.
Yep.
And we're like, or at least say not we're all guilty, but I know I feel bad about it because sometimes tablet world gives me a place of rest and I'd be like, oh thank you Lord, but then I have to go, okay, what can we do today that's just for them? Let's go over to the park, let's go do this. And I just I admire you, your journey, and this is not even your whole story. Like there's so many other
It is.
layers.
It is.
There's so many other layers to your 37 years of life. Like I,
Praise.
but I think that you still honor the Lord well
Thank you.
through it all. You've honored the Lord well, in my opinion, of someone who's been in your presence. Like I when I say one of the most genuine people on the planet, in my opinion, you're consistent.
Thank you.
Yep. And I love you so much. And I'm so thankful that the Lord brought you into my life and into my family's life. And I want y'all to know. I don't mind saying this. I was like, if this woman wasn't pouring into me the way that she was pouring into me, I probably would have left my husband. Like I won't say you saved my marriage, but you gave me a different perspective around it. And it's just because everybody else in my life, they were getting divorced. And it felt like, and I'll tell anybody, I was the one who was like, if you show me that this is not gonna do what I wanted to do, I'm out this piece. You ain't gotta worry about me. You ain't got to worry about me. I'm gonna dip out. And you just shared your story, and you would check on me and just be like, hey, how we doing today? And because of you encouraging me about like therapy and encouraging me to like really just talk to somebody, like I can honestly say me and my husband in a lot better place now. And this is just a year ago, 2 years now.
That's awesome.
And I mean, it's genuinely because you were willing to be vulnerable with me and just love on me. And I can't imagine who else you're doing that for. In the midst of you still, like, you were still reconciling. You hadn't got to, you hadn't got to, okay, everything's okay right now.
Right.
Yeah, you was like you was on your way. You was like, okay, I think we might try it again, Alicia. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah. I said, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I prayed so hard for y'all because I always knew y'all love each other, and what you guys went through as a couple. Couples don't make it.
Yes. Listen, I'm seeing marriages drop left and right, and they've been married longer than us. Like, I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So I get it. I do. I get it.
I think it's because you reminded me that I didn't have to be in control of the situation. I needed to surrender it to God in a way that I hadn't done before. Like, I'd be like, I don't want nothing to do with it. That's fine. If he gonna do such and such, then I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just handle me. And you would just remind me. You'd be like, well, did you pray? Something that simple. I'm for real, like, because when you be, you got your big girl feelings. That's how I'm gonna say. When you in your big girl feelings, you just, and you be like, I can do bad all by myself, and I don't need him. I'll figure it out. I can make 2 + 2 = 29 because that's just what I do,
Right.
It's like, you don't have to do it that way. You don't have to do it alone. And it's not just marriage. It's just anything in life. You need my community, my friend circle, the people like you who I can just literally let my ugliness out.
Right. Yeah.
And not feel judged. I think that's what makes that difficult transition easier. It's like, you may not be able to come to my house and I'm feeling some kind of way and I want to just curl up into a ball, and it's like, but those little moments of I'm just checking on you, and it's like, man, I'm gonna go see her. That made me come out the house. That made me share. Made me talk to you, and I think that as time grew, and I'm seeing you guys become healthy, it was encouraging to me. And it's like, Alicia, you gotta put forth the effort, and you gotta try it, and you can't just throw him away because you wouldn't want him to throw you away. Yep. I promise you reminded me of that. Because in my mind, it's like, I didn't do nothing wrong.
Yep.
I didn't do nothing wrong.
Yep.
What if it was me?
Right. Yeah.
What if it was me? Girl, and I tell you, she will give you some resources. Them resources helped me. It helped me out so much. Like, I was like, oh, I need a girl. From the resources you gave me, it led me down the mental health route, and I found out that I got ADHD. That's why it's too much. It was too much for me.
Wow.
Yep. And I said this last time. I said I'm taking my medicine, and the medicine is working. Okay, and
That's awesome.
it is it has allowed me to not feel so stimulated.
Right.
All like when certain things are going on. Like even now, we got like both of our cars went out. Our wash machine went out. We like it felt like it was like an attack after attack after attack within 3 weeks. And I promise you, I didn't lose it. I kept it.
Wow.
So
Ooh, come on, somebody.
I was, I was like, Lord, keep my mind. So for you to be so vocal about therapy, counseling, AA meetings, even anger management, like all you're talking about is just saying, I need my tribe, I need my community, I need connection because I can't do it by myself.
Yes.
And I won't do it by myself because what I'm doing is not working.
It's not serving you at all. Mm-mm.
When you found those resources and made, started making your community in that way, I would say, what would you say to someone who may be going through a difficult time and they're feeling like, hey, I don't have nobody to have my back? What would you say to them right now?
Right. That's making me reflect back to when I first, because the addiction made me isolate, right? Is that me against the world, along with childhood trauma, whatever else, it's me. I got me, that energy. But if I'm the nucleus and there are these, I'm the center, right? And all of these things attached to me aren't thriving. They're like running on fumes, right? Like I wanted better relationships with my female friends. I wanted a better relationship with my husband. Um, yeah, you can look at my children and be like, oh, they're good kids, but I knew that I wanted better even in that area. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful, but just every area, I was like, something's not working. Something's not working, and me trying to do it in my own right by myself is not, I'm running on, it's like sputtering, like a car that's like pushing out gas or smoke. That's how I felt. And it got to a point where I was so dehydrated. My insides was dehydrated with the addiction. And I knew, I was like, I don't want to die. Like, I don't want to die like this, and by the grace of God, I say this to my mom, I'm thankful for her because she ran to the AA and NA meetings, and then like when COVID happened, well, a little bit before, well, no, this was post COVID, and you had invited me to a meeting at the place where you were working, and like the verbiage of the flyer, it was different. It wasn't like addiction or anything like that. It was just like a all something meeting, and I was like, what's this about? You know what I mean? It was unsuspected. Right. And I was like, this is, what is this? And it piqued my interest. But to answer the question, as much as I want to be Superwoman, I feel like I'm a G. I can handle it, whatever. I'm a figure it out. I have, as much as that dog I think I got in me, as much as that fight I think I have in me, even with my military training or whatever, that doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve me at all. And I need a village. I cannot do this by myself. Physically, I cannot do this by myself. Spiritually, I cannot do this by myself. So physically, I knew, okay, I was a shutdown person. I didn't talk about it, which I know fueled my addiction, right? The isolation. But I knew, okay, I need to talk to somebody. I need to, or what is this about? And then they were like, well, you can just call and talk to the people at the VA. And then I was honest, and I was like, I don't have no control over this. These urges, this is ridiculous. And then the nurse, she was sitting on the video with me. She said, and I'm just talking and I'm smiling. And so she was like, yeah, we have this medication, and this can, be helpful or whatever like that. And I was like, medication, and not that I was against it, because I'm all for somebody taking medication, right? But I felt like I could do it by myself.
Right.
Right. Like, y'all keep that over there, yeah, girl, do that, And so I said, well, how do you know? Why are you recommending this? She said, because even though you have a smile on your face, she said, tears are running down your cheeks. And I was like, she's like, yeah, you're depressed. I was like, what? Yeah. So I got on antidepressants, and it was a dual, it covered two things. It helped with depression, and it stopped the urges of the cravings for alcohol.
Okay.
So it was doing two things at once. And so they said, well, give it some time, give it a month or two to kick in or whatever. And when I say this had been the first time in probably like over 10 years that I felt like there wasn't a dark cloud over my head. Because see, I have the gift of wearing a mask. I'm sure some other people, skilled in that area. But I was very good at it, and that woman, being honest with me and like, yeah, I think you should get on this. So needless to say, I felt the dark cloud leave, and I was just like, okay. But even then, God's grace was still with me, because I was like, okay, well, maybe I could take a little sip, I could still, it's just not a monkey on my back like it used to be. And when I say I got sick as a dog.
Look at God.
Listen. And then by that time, me and my husband had started to like be nice to each other, and like, and so I think like we hung out or something like that, and I drank something, and I had to go to the hospital. That's how sick you get from doing the medication. And right.
Wow.
And so I said, God, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. And that's when it, like, I was just like, okay, I can't do this in my own strength. Like, I done tried to do the medication, and then I try to teeter-totter and figure it out and think I can tweak the formula, but no, it doesn't work. And I really had to just get honest and like, Tameka, you need some help.
Yeah.
Because I pride myself on me figuring it out, know.
I got it.
I don't need nobody. I'm going to figure it out. I'm a hustler, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to do something. I'm finna do something, I ain't finna rob nobody,
Right.
But I'm going to make it happen. And just realizing, and then as well, I want to add this too. So with my mom taking me to meetings, I had ended up taking my children to the meetings with me. And I was just like, wow. And then I was like, okay, Lord, how do I deal with this? And I'm like, well, I'm vocal with social media about it. So I have a heart-to-heart with my son. I have a heart-to-heart with my daughter. In their own perspective levels of understanding, right? But my son, with him being the oldest, I was very honest with him. I was like, look, your great-grandmama dealt with this, your granddad, great-granddaddy, your grandmama, your mama, me, and this is what you need to look out for.
Yeah.
This is what you need to be on the lookout for. If you're feeling this way, if you're feeling that way, come talk to me. It ain't nothing that me and your daddy we done dealt with it, or we know somebody that we can point you to talk to about it. So very transparent. But yeah, I realized early on that shame, the devil thrives on the shame because it keeps us quiet.
Right.
And if you're quiet, You ain't shining the light on it. It's in the dark. So it can continue to grow and fester and build and dig even deeper roots, which makes it even harder to come out of. But there ain't nothing too hard for God.
That's right. That's right. So what I hear you say is being transparent with the loved ones in your life
Yep.
and creating community. Your
Yep.
privilege
Yes.
support you
Yes.
in that difficult time, and I mean, all of it is accountability as well. Because if you can say what's wrong, then people can actually hold you accountable. Because it's like if I say I'm depressed, guess what? My friend gonna say, "Hey, you ain't been out the house in a couple of days. Come with me.
Yep.
Go to the grocery store." Like
Yep.
it doesn't have to be this big hoopla.
Yep.
It can be something as
Yep.
small as, "Hey, I'm coming over. I'm gonna come sit in your house with you.
Yep.
We're
And
gonna
getting out of the house.
getting out of the house. That's
Because
it."
that's vitamin D.
Yep.
Realizing that's connected to depression. You know, when you have a vitamin D deficiency, yeah, there's depression and tiredness and sadness. It's like it's layered, you
Yeah.
know. So just going through this process has helped me understand Tameka better, you know, and not being on autopilot, you know. And I thank God that hearing you share with me how I've shown up for you, I'm like, well, thank you, Lord, that I was an all right friend, you
You
know,
are. You're
through
amazing.
all of that.
Yep, you're amazing.
Thank you. To
Yep.
God be the glory, man. It's him. It's him. I'm just surrendering, you know. I'm just surrendering.
Well, I'm thankful that you surrender. You say your yes every day, and I get to reap the benefits of it. Hopefully, this relationship and friendship is beneficial to you as well.
Absolutely.
Girl, that is our time, but I want you to know, Tamika, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I know that this encourages somebody else who may be in the thick of it. There's still light at the end of the tunnel. And it's not even at the end of the tunnel. There's just light.
Right.
Then,
Right.
yep, you gotta find it. And if you feel like you're in a dark place, hey, reach out, talk to somebody,
Yeah.
all out.
There are uh mental health free, toll free mental health lines for each state, Georgia, even locally, you know. I mean, you gotta want it bad enough. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like that desperation. If we can Google a recipe to figure out how to fix something,
come on now.
we can Google where is the local free, whatever. But God is such a gracious God that He'll send somebody, even if you can't do that, you
Yep.
know. So
Hey, my God is a savior. Okay,
I ain't even come on now.
he'll send a donkey. He'll send a dove. He'll send me.
Hmm.
Look,
Hmm.
come on now. Look, he'll send somebody. Well,
Okay.
thank you, my love. I enjoyed you.
Thank you.
I want to speak a blessing over you. Let this continue to grow, not just your family, but your ministry that you're doing. Allow it to reach the lives of so many people, so many women as well, who may be in transition, but also that are yearning for God's presence. And they can see it whether they're sitting in your chair, whether you're actually standing up at an event talking about it, or even if it's just to someone else who's going through that hard time, so that they know that they're not alone. God, continue to grow her territory, God. Let her reach, go wherever you would have it to go. Let your will be done in her life. And allow this family to be covered and protected. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I love you so much.
Thank you. I love you too. And thank God for you and your family, in your life, in your ministry, and everything. Just thank you. Thank you. I thank God for you.
Yeah, I love you so much. Don't go nowhere. I'm gonna wrap up, but I want everybody to know this episode will be live Monday at 7 a.m. I do it every Monday, but we record here on TikTok just so people can see what we're doing. If you have somebody who may be going through something or has been talking about this, please, I ask you to just share it with them. Bless them. Don't be stingy. Around here, Wild Preacher Kid, we are not stingy, okay? We share it with the people around us so that folks can be uplifted. Like I told y'all before, I am not a pastor, a minister, or anything like that. I'm a sister in the faith, and I just want to be able to encourage somebody else. Um, Thank you guys once again for tuning in on TikTok. Of course, you can follow me on all platforms. Make sure you follow on something. My goal for the month of March is to get at least 1,000 downloads of overall my episodes of podcast. I have about 11 right now, y'all. It's consistent, okay? I'm proud of me. If you could do me a favor, if you could share this next episode with at least 5 people. That's all I'm asking for. Share it with 5 people. If you're listening to this, share it with 5 people this week, just to help me get to my goal. I just want this to be what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. I feel like this is what I've been called to do, and I'm asking y'all to partner with me. If you would like to sew, you can always sew at PK Gone Wild on Cash App. Like when I say I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just starting out, but God's gonna grow this thing, and I see what God is doing as well. Tamika, one more time, check her out. Go ahead, get your scalp rubbed on and braided down. You can find her at Tameka the Creative, and of course, just if you need some resources, please let me know. I don't care what it is. It could be a food bank, it could be clothing, it could be mental health, it can be recovery. I don't care what the resource is. If I don't have it, I know people who do. So please reach out to us. I take it when I say I'm an advocate and I'm an ally, I am, because I love it. I love everybody, but sometimes we just need each other. So,
Yeah, we can't do this life alone.
That's right.
Yeah.
And like I like to end my show, whatever God has you doing, just keep going and keep being wild for God. Thank you guys, and see you next week.